Oh, cool. All right, so I got the word. We got the word that I am live. So how's everyone doing? This Gan Gem here, Pulseman, put a lot of time into it. It's technically speaking, it is a Japanese-only release, but it did have a brief stint. It was something called the Sega Channel, which some people might not know about. Oh, I think a lot of people probably don't even know about that, but it was like a service that Sega provided, and it included a number of games not actually physically released in the United States. This game was one of them, and yeah, it's a fairly long run. We're going to be doing this glitchless, so there will be no wall clipping, at least not intentionally clipping through walls. I make no promises about accidental glides. This game is a little finicky with that part of the game, but typically speaking, if I just hold right, it's never going to happen. But you never know. You never know. Anyway, let's get started here. Is my timer? Yes. I gotta move this so I can actually read the chat while I do this run. Yeah, it loves to eat up your bit rate. This is correct, Paul. You are very much correct. All right. So, let me get started here in 3, 2, 1, go. So technically, time starts when you gain control in the first level. There's 3 selectable stages. We are choosing stage 1 first. And this is very important. We choose this stage first because the boss in this stage is manipulated based on your total point score when you enter the fight. So that's easiest to do when you start the game with 0 points as your total score. So the idea of this game is that after you sprint for a set period of time, you become electrically charged and you start running much faster. And this electrified state can be utilized to enter what is called the Voltecker state. And this is an ability that carries infinitely so long as you ricochet off a wall, a ground, or a ceiling. And you'll see that played to good effect in the next upcoming screen right here. This is the virtual reality we are entering. Pulseman is actually, I guess, a digital creation of sorts. So here's the Voltecker in full effect. So that one enemy I killed is the only enemy, ideally, that I should kill in a good run. Hopefully I do not kill any other enemies at any other point. And now we want to try to hold on to our dashing state as long as possible. And that was a very clean screen. So now we're going to enter the news station here. So something's kind of going on. Somebody's kind of hacked into the news network, and yeah, the news crew is kind of passed out there. Oh, I'm probably. Oh no, I didn't miss it. Okay, good. So there's an ability I'm actually using where I double tap forward. We call this the double dash, or I call it the double dash. And this is good to utilize in situations where you do need to quickly gain back your charge and you don't have room to constantly run forward. So that was a really good stage. And now we move on to the boss fight at 200 health, so I know exactly what pattern I'm going to get here. And we want to get up here, so we manipulate the hits or optimize hits when he comes from the top. When he turns red, go back over here, and the fight is done. So that is all predetermined as long as I have a score of 200 as I enter the fight. If any changes to that value does change the pattern that you get. Sometimes I do end up with 400 points or 600 points. Those are also patterns that I somewhat have memorized. Any other pattern, though? No. Any other pattern basically requires me to have a bad stage 1. So I just reset before I even get to the boss.
Stage clear.
And that's stage 1. Now, after each stage, there is going to be a bonus stage, and the idea behind this is to break all the blocks. And in the case of all of them now, we can actually complete them properly. So when I showed this off at GDQ, I actually intentionally avoided doing the bonus stages later on because they cause so much lag. But this is the big change to the route now that you're going to see from the GDQ run, is that I actually get to do all the bonus stages, and they are some of the biggest run killers in the run. But it was also a big run killers this upcoming fight here, which is why we choose Stage USA second. And we got it. Beautiful quick kill. So you want to kill him there because he's at the very furthest to the right. And by killing him and he's the furthest to the right, he leaves the screen earlier. That's a pretty tight quick kill to get, and the damage values of your attacks are somewhat changed a little bit, and it's really, really strange, that fight. I don't know exactly how it works, but when you use the uncharged Voltecker and then you deliver a punch as you're descending to the ground, you do more damage with a punch, I think. It's strange. The other thing is the uncharged Voltecker grants me a lot of iframes on its use. So it seems like something that is not very useful to use because it does kill your forward momentum, but on a boss fight, it's very, very handy to kill boss fights often. And just, you know, abuse the iframes, stand in their hitbox. And you're going to see that on a number of fights. Not all of them, but you'll see that on a couple of fights. So here's the colorful casino. I'm going to make this warning now. This game has some very bright flashing colors. This one's not too bad, but it is pretty colorful. So if you're kind of sensitive to that, yeah, there's your warning. Best to give the warning here before the other bad stages come. So there's a couple of pretty tight Voltecker uses here. Okay, that should be good. Oh, this might be nice. That's the ideal Voltecker I wanted there. Now I want to do that. Oh, come on. Now dash. So like I said, some very key uses of the double dash. If you want to get into an electrical state, oh, this might not be good. Okay, good. That's fine. That's fine. I was expecting to have a different trajectory there. And there we go. We're done Stage USA. It's a very short stage.
Be careful.
And here is the uncharged Voltecker in full action. Yeah, so basically you can just abuse the iframes and really trivialize the fight. There's a lot of things, I think there's a lot of things he does in this fight, but you'll never get the chance to see them if you actually do it properly. All right, so the bonus stage in Stage 3. There's platforms above. We don't want to fall down. If we do, yeah, it would normally be a reset for me. The hardest part is breaking through to the green layer blocks. And that was an ideal Stage 3 bonus stage. So this run is off to a very strong start. As we head into India, where actually in my world record run, I make a very critical mistake on the boss fight. And that is missing the Wonder Treat 1 cycle. And that is a cost of at least 4 seconds. So yeah, if you ever want to pick up this game, that is something to take advantage of. Otherwise, it is a very strong run, so do be aware of that. So here in India, we get introduced to a mechanic here known as these rebars to latch onto, and they will carry you. They will actually carry you all the way to the end stretch, or until you cancel out of it with the Voltecker button, like I just did there. Now there's a bit of a maze here coming up here. This is a pretty quick section, but as long as you memorize where you're, like the level layout, it's a fairly consistent screen, despite the fact it goes by real quickly. Oof, that was close. All right, so this is a screen where there is no ceiling, so it's actually not a good idea to use Voltecker in any place whatsoever. So we're just gonna ideally try to sprint for as long as we possibly can until we are forced to consider using the Voltecker in order to not die. Oh, not where I was. And a couple of key jumps. Very nice. Those are not very safe jumps to do. So you only have like 3 health before you die. Just it's indicated by the color: blue, yellow, and red. You can imagine red is when you are 1 hit away from death. Oh, okay. So yeah, be careful. This screen is kind of really bad. It makes no sense whatsoever. Oh, I can't messed up there. It's okay, as long as we... Wow. I want to be down here because if I am down here, I can jump here and transfer over here. It's supposed to be much faster to go the bottom route, but it's okay. We messed that screen up, but hopefully we can at least get the Wonder Tree 1 cycle. So I'm just gonna be quiet here just for a moment. Very nice. So yeah, the idea of the Wonder Tree 1 cycle is that if you propel Voltecker while you're on solid ground, you do an extra burst of damage. And that is how we get the extra damage we need in order to obtain the Wonder Tree 1 cycle. So that was a good display of that. And that was the very strat that I failed in my actual PB. Not one of my prouder gaming moments in a PB, but you take what you can get considering all the other huge run killer moments in this game. Wow, I actually missed that. All right. Let's see if we can actually figure out how to get up there. Okay. Well, we botched the bonus stage, unfortunately. I should have canceled the moment I missed that Voltecker thing and went the wrong way. All good. All good, though. That's probably my biggest mistake yet. As we move on to the next set of 3 selectable stages, which is Thailand, Alaska, and Australia. And we're actually going to go in the intended order this time, rather than the first set of selectable stages. And unlike in GDQ, I'm actually doing it for a reason, and not for just because we respect the lore. We want to choose Thailand first because if you remember earlier in the run, I said there was a change to the route in that we finish all the bonus stages. Well, the Thailand bonus stage has there's a huge reason why the Thailand bonus stage is a huge run killer, and it's kind of hard to explain it without me going into heavy depth on a certain couple of blocks in it, and why killing those 2 blocks essentially makes it impossible for me to properly complete the bonus stage. But we aren't there for a little bit. Most of the rest of this stage is largely unchanged. So the key sort of difficult Volteckers kind of remain the same. Wow, I actually missed that. I actually wanted to bounce up there, do a double dash, and then do Voltecker right there, and then we want to do it one more time here to get ourselves up here. It's actually really fun how I routed this one out, this particular screen. It looks rather complicated, but it's actually not. It's actually fairly straightforward route. All right, so these next couple of Volteckers on this screen are pretty tight. The second one especially. All right, this one should be good. I want to do it at just the right point so I can carry Voltecker all the way to this point right here. Now the next part right here, that might have been too early. We'll see. Nope, we got it. Perfect. Beautiful Voltecker use there. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. Minor mistake. Minor mistake. So next big run killer moment is these green balls here. You latch onto them and you start spinning around like crazy, but if you time it just right, it'll look like you hardly latch onto them at all. But the timing is pretty specific and not too easy to pinpoint, actually, because which direction you get launched is fairly... Wow. Okay, I completely forgot about that. There's a way to manipulate that bug's movement, but I forgot to do that. It's okay. It is not a big deal. This is more than a safe amount of health going into the boss fight, which is just one more screen away. But yeah, those green balls are actually... Those green balls are fairly difficult to actually utilize and maneuver around. For the most part, you probably might latch onto them for a bit and try to figure out how they move. But the problem is the camera tends to jerk around a lot when you actually latch onto them. So that's a kind of a big problem. Can make you a bit dizzy trying to utilize them. Alright, and yeah, another boss where we can basically just park ourselves inside the hitbox and destroy him, which is great, because those arrows there indicate 4 different patterns he can actually do, if he is even allowed to get the shot to do any of those 4 patterns. And that takes away a bit of RNG. Now here comes the biggest run killer in mid to late game. So I'm just gonna be quiet, focus. That's not good. I hope this is okay. Oh boy. Okay. Well, we messed that up, but it's okay. We didn't actually fall down. This is still worth me trying to complete. Granted, that blue block there is going to be a bit of a challenge. Oh boy. Okay, now it's not worth it, but it's fine. I couldn't actually kill it in time. So that was actually a huge time loss. So that blue block there, actually not killing it, the one that was right below that green block in the middle there, caused me a bit of problems in being able to get over to that side to finish the last section there. So unfortunately, by going for that, we lost a lot of time because we caused all that lag for really no reason. Please dash. So now we move on to Alaska, though. You know, putting aside that failure, we'll move on to Alaska and just kind of move on with the run. It is what it is. So Alaska we do... Okay, well, we failed to get up here, which is a big problem. Let's do that, and then let's jump up here. Yeah, we move on to Alaska because our next big run killer in the early, mid to late game is the boss fight in this stage. And it's not as big of a run killer as Thailand because getting the optimal kill on this fight is exceedingly difficult and very, very rare. Okay, nice ricochet. Please get up the wall. There we go. Twice over, I actually missed my mark there. It's okay. Because now we get some time to relax. This next section is not really a big deal. It's mostly just a maze of knowing where to go, which pathway takes you where. So it's mostly straightforward. So I'll take this time to sort of talk about the boss fight. The main reason this stage is a big run killer as well. The Veil fight is a fight where you can actually manipulate him to constantly be in Voltecker state if you fulfill one of 2 things, of which include either one of staying in Voltecker state and bouncing around, which will cause him to instantly charge himself back up, or double dashing and throwing a electric shock arrow at him, and this will electrify him as well. We forgot what I was doing there. So that's actually coming up here. Now there's a lot of factors that can cause me to miss that can cause me to not like keep a constant chain of hits on him, because there's a way you can line that up, but he can actually go multiple different ways just depending on where you hit him. It's kind of hard to explain. Like it really is one of those kind of fights where you have to actually play the fight yourself, and you'll be like, oh yeah, now I get it. But basically how the fight goes is I'm going to hit him, and hopefully he will get knocked back in the correct direction so he stays aligned, so I can just perfectly ricochet myself to collide with him constantly. That's how the fight is supposed to go. That is likely not what you're going to see. It is very difficult to get an optimal Veil fight, so if you manage to see it here, you saw the very rare occasion. What is going to likely happen is I break out a Voltecker to throw a shock arrow at him. Oh, geez, okay. Okay, yeah, this was a disastrous fight already. Really bad fight. We probably... Okay, wow. Wow. So I actually have to... So there's a little something about this fight. Oh, okay. I'm missing my cancels. This is the other big problem with this fight. So if I actually miss cancels... Okay, I should have been able to hit him there. And I missed him. Okay, this fight is coming up. There we go, there we go. That's the idea I was going for. What a terrible fight that was. Yeah, couldn't land hits, couldn't cancel proper Volteckers there. Yeah, so that's the other thing I forgot to mention. When you collide with him, there's a lot of lag that happens, and I have to hit the Voltecker button at a precise point and then press it again at a proper point, so I can keep the Voltecker string, as I call it. Of course, that happened and was failed repeatedly in hysterical fashion, so that was about as terrible a fight as you will ever see. But that's okay, we'll move on. Hopefully we'll have a good bonus stage to make up for it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let this Voltecker just do its thing, and I'm gonna keep the little thing there. So anytime you're in the Voltecker state, this platform will actually be able to be moved around. That's kind of the thing. That green platform there, it's kind of like, I forget that retro game where you can trying to bounce up a ball of some sort.
Okay.
In order to just ricochet the ball to hit back all the blocks. I forget what that game is called, but you can actually gain control of that. Oh, I should. All right. Well, this is interesting. Jump. All right. Well, I should have actually been paying attention to what I was doing here. So this is Australia. Okay, and I did not jump in time. Whoa. Okay, let's. Okay, we're gonna have to focus properly here. That's okay. That screen is actually very short, so a death there is not a big deal. Yeah, so Australia, how do I want to talk about this stage? This is This is definitely the infamous stage. Most people tend to, I believe most people's bad repressed memories are because of this stage. And this underwater descent is probably one of the biggest offenders for why that is the case. But the idea of the underwater section here is that if you jump in the air and then start free falling, you will constantly be descending at a faster pace. And as long as you don't land on anything or get hit by anything, you'll continue to free fall as quickly as possible through it. It's mostly an auto-scroller section if you know exactly where to go. But that first screen was all based on cycles, and of course, because I wasn't paying attention, I missed my cycle and then proceeded to die. Although the dying part was mostly my fault, not the stage's fault. Just putting that out there. Alright, so this is another screen that I actually was practicing extensively right before my run started here, because I do not want to die on this screen. This would be horrible. I can't believe I actually missed that. Alright. Well, I guess if I was going to die anywhere on this screen, better that it was super early there. This is turning into somewhat of a disastrous run now because of that, but it's okay. Last time I died here, I believe it was much later in the level, so you know, I'll take what I can get there. This time we're going to jump and play it safe. Unfortunately, when you jump and then try to do Voltecker there, you actually do cause that platform to be a bit late with what it wants to do. You want to abuse the iframes there, and nice. At least we didn't mess that part up. Last time I died near the end of this screen, and that would have been embarrassing to have that happen again. So all the big death screens. Oh, by the way, sorry, I should have warned you guys. This is a really bad screen, and so is the next one. We're past the big death killer screens in this stage, but now we actually have the truly technical parts of the stage itself to come. And this screen's not too bad, but the next screen has some pretty tight Voltecker uses. So, what you saw in the casino in stage 3, that's what you're going to expect to see again, although the lineup is a lot less noticeable in this screen. Oh. Did not mean to throw that. Okay, we missed the first one. So I'm trying to squeeze into those tight pockets there. That's okay. There's still one more that we're gonna have to get. Gonna slow down my pace. Okay, that's gonna miss. Yeah. Try. There we go. That's better. That's actually pretty tight to do. Like, it's very hard to get that first try. So second try I will certainly take. And this Voltecker will carry me right up to the second platform. And this is perfect because it gives me an ideal elevator pattern. Jump up here. And now is another really intensely difficult screen execution-wise. Oh, and we messed it up already by not jumping soon enough. So, gotta re-establish our run speed. And we want to jump as soon as possible because that does reduce the lag. But you have to make sure you do your jumps at just the right time here. Okay, so this was actually an alright screen. So that's at least good. It's hard to actually do this screen optimally. Oh, and by the way, you can actually walk above the stage there. That's totally allowed because there was a free 1-up that you can only get by doing that in one of the earlier stages. So, not a glitch. Not a glitch. If you want to make that a glitch, you'll have to take that up with the Panda. Shout outs to the Panda. So before I actually picked up this game, that runner actually was the original world record holder. I think he had something like a 41-minute time. This game has come a long way since that day. And this fight, I'm hoping to make sure I land my hits. I want to take an intentional hit here to force those bullets off the screen as soon as possible, because they do lag this fight significantly whenever they are on screen. But sometimes the problem is those torpedoes I'm firing back at the submarine have a tendency to not properly register their hits. And that's a big problem. That's actually a very big problem. Because every time you miss, you don't land a hit properly, it's a loss of at least 9 seconds. Not good. All right, now for the last bonus stage. This is another pretty big run killer bonus stage as well, but not as much as Thailand is. Okay, well, we messed this up really badly. I'm going to let the time play out, actually. So, ideally, what I wanted to do was I wanted a sweet spot, and it would allow me to kill most of these blocks in a single Voltecker use, which would include all but, I believe, 5 blocks at the top. Even this one here gets destroyed at some point in it. You want to know what it looks like, you just have to watch the world record run, and you'll see it in full action. But unfortunately, we just decided to opt out of it because we had messed up the original setup, and we likely would have not properly accomplished a completion of the bonus stage. So, better to just eat the loss and move on, even though it is the biggest time save out of all the later discovered bonus stages to complete. All right, so arcade. This is the last stage. We're going back to Japan. So I haven't really talked about the storyline very much. In fact, I don't even really know if the storyline as we know it actually is what the storyline is supposed to be. It was translated. There might have been some translation errors with it. But as I know it, Pulseman was created by our villain, and somehow that process actually corrupted the mind of the villain. And he's sort of the owner of a criminal organization now. So we fight. We're basically fighting against our father, you know. Cue the Star Wars memes, you know. The classic, your father was your enemy the entire time. But yeah, our Dr. Wadiyama, or whatever his name is, he's jumped into this arcade. Oh, and his gang is called the Galaxy Gang. I should probably mention that. He's jumped into this arcade, and we have decided to follow him. And we're going to try and... We're basically here to defeat him, because he's all that remains of ridding the world of cybercrime, evidently. So that spot there is actually really dangerous. I have often gotten smushed. If you don't do things exactly and abuse the iframes there, you likely will get hit by the meteor, and that will cause a problem during that last stretch. The name of the game is Pulseman. If you are unfamiliar with it, don't worry. It's probably because the game was not released in America. You know, in the traditional sense. When I'm talking that sort of thing, that sort of release of a game, I'm thinking like something that actually involved a physical copy release. Like, you know, back in the OG days, where everything had a physical copy. It was the only way you could play games back then. This game was not available to consumers through the original conventional means. It was originally available to us through a service Sega provided. Some people who were subscribers to the Sega channel might be able to tell you more about that. I never was, though, so I couldn't tell you much about the Sega Channel, even if I tried. Alright, so yeah, in case you're wondering, this is a very long auto-scroller, and there's like 4 screens worth. We're on the 3rd screen now. And how I want to play this out is I want to jump off screen so I reduce the lag as much as possible. The more you're moving, especially with extra particle effects like this electrical charge, you actually do lag the game more doing that. So if you jump off screen, you can actually reduce the lag doing that. So oftentimes I will try to jump at the peak of the height of a specific sort of platform. This is kind of what I'm doing for most of these. And I want to try and jump while I'm ducking, because that will actually prevent the momentum burn off of an initial jump. So sometimes the problem is with this game is when you try to go for a jump, Pulseman might not carry his forward momentum in the initial part of the jump, and he can actually die in some of these jumps from that sort of thing happening. So it's really important you make sure you jump out of a duck, because it never happens if you jump that way. So now we are on to the last auto-scroller part, or last part of the auto-scroller now. This one is a little, how should I call this? Like in some other screens, there's space above the ceilings, or the ceilings here, and I'm actually going to utilize that near the end, and then get set up for the quick kill of the mini boss that waits for us at the very end of the screen here. After we're done with the auto scroller, though, it's a very short few next screens. It'll be a short few screens after that, and then it will be the final boss. Hopefully we'll still be able to get under estimate. Unfortunately, I did not set that up well, but it's fine. I still got the quick kill on him. Yeah, if you stand in close enough to him, you can kill him with a single uncharged Voltecker. But you have to get the iframes to walk into that thing first. So, yeah, that was that fight. Now, I'm going to somewhat focus here a little bit. This is fairly difficult platforming. Jumps are pretty key. Okay, this is a problem. I'm just gonna wait that out. Alright, good. We didn't take a hit there. I was a little worried about that. Alright, now time for the final climb of the game. There's another voltage power. We're gonna try to climb, ricochet, bounce, climb off of this wall here. And there's the exit right there. Couple early Volteckers, not a big deal though. And now time for the final screen of the game. So this screen has a bit of a gimmick. The spectrum lines, they start to darken. If you use Voltecker while in the midst of this, it will actually darken up the screen completely, like so. But eventually they do light back up, like you're seeing right now. There we go. That's the end of the level. So now we have just couple more boss fights here. My health is a little low, but I expect to be at yellow health by the time I reach this fight, so not really a big deal. Because long as I don't take an accidental hit during the fight, there's no risk of me actually dying by mistake. Alright, so I'm looking at the timer now. I should make an underestimate. Barely, but I'll make an underestimate. Thankfully, the last fight is a very short fight. It is also a fight where... where there is a lot of bright flashing lights. I believe the stream, though, is being restreamed at 30 FPS, so you probably won't see it. But if it is, if the game feed is coming through at 60 FPS, yeah, just don't look. Do not look at the screen. It is very bad. Very bad fight, this screen. And that's time. Please stop the timer, please. There we go. I have to like hit the timer so much. Oh, well, that was Pulseman, everyone. Not the cleanest run from me. Of course, I didn't spend too much time practicing it. I spent enough, though, to get... to at least try to show off some of the stuff which I could not actually show up. But at least now you get an idea just how much the new stuff actually really does bump up the difficulty of the run, and maybe, just maybe, if all the particle effects and the bit rate killing parts don't put you off, there is an actually really interesting speed run here. To learn from, and there is a tutorial to also learn off of. So there you go. That's another reason right there. The resources are there, and yeah, that is Pulseman. I should make one more mention before I decide to sign off. This was made by Game Freak, and you're going to see their logo actually. In these credits, potentially. During these credits. Well, not potentially. You will see them. I only say potentially because the team might just decide to cut me off here. But, yeah, if you don't know, Game Freak was the people who made Pokemon. Before they made Pokemon, though, they made this game. And a number of others, including Magical Taruto Game. And if you don't know what that game is, well, you merely have to... just search up Joey Baby 69 and GDQ, and you'll find it. You'll find it. Another game I recommend, and another game I actually ran myself before, so I can recommend that game too. And that's it for me, guys. I'm Dagron, and I don't know what is the next game. Oh, let me just see. Is Spider-Man with Faust. Well, you're in for a treat with that one. So, yeah, I'm gonna let the staff cut me loose here and have you guys sitting in the waiting room waiting for some Marvel. Good luck to Faust. And have a fun rest of the marathon, everyone.
Thank you for playing.